the link. Is it not working or something?
Yeah, we haven't given permission for everyone yet.
Oh, okay.
It should be working. I see we have 9 attendees in here so far, and we didn't close registration. So you should be able to come in here and register even after it started.
Tausif is here. Hi, Tausif. He's the one who introduced us to Safi.
Oh, that's so great. Okay, I'll go ahead and start sharing my screen. And when our other panelist gets here, just let me know, just so people have a good welcome screen. And it looks like we have some participants coming on in. So participants, as you come in, please access the chat box and feel free to introduce yourself, say where you're calling in from. I see someone raise their hand. That's great. We, just for the sake of sound quality and presentation quality, we muted all of you and turned off your cameras, but you can still communicate with us in the chat box or through the Q&A function. Someone said, hello. We'll say, I'm Michael Bates here. Oh, hi, Michael. Good to see you. I haven't seen you in a while. He's based in San Diego, California. Yeah, so please introduce yourself in the chat box. We'd love to hear from you, where you're calling in from. Great, looks like we're getting more and more attendees as the minutes go by. Should I go ahead and get started?
Sure. And so hi, everyone. Welcome to the first ever Citizen Science Asia webinar, organized jointly by Citizen Science Asia and SciStarter. My name is Adrian, a member of Citizen Science Asia. Today's webinar theme is biodiversity. And this is in celebration of Citizen Science Month, as well as sort of a kickoff to City Nature Challenge, which began today. So get out there and work for your cities to get some posts and the spots in for iNaturalist Citizen Science City Nature Challenge. And so we're going to have a brief introduction about Citizen Science Month by SciStarter, followed by an introduction to the Citizen Science Asia community. And then we're going to introduce the keynote speakers and begin that. So I did send a link in the comment section if you scroll up to the beginning of the comments, and it's a webinar resource document that you can look at. It kind of gives a brief introduction about the keynote speakers and some resources you can look out to learn more about the community of citizen scientists in Asia. And now I want to hand over the platform to Caroline from SciStarter, who's going to give a brief introduction about what Citizen Science Month is.
Great. Yeah, thank you so much, Adrian. And thank you to Citizen Science Asia for the work that you do. And we're so happy to be doing this. I've been really looking forward to it. I put in the chat the YouTube link in case you all want to share this with your friends and family who may not be on Zoom. Zoom is definitely the best seat for this whole thing because you're going to be able to take part in our chat box and our interactive poll, but the recording will be available afterward too. Looks like someone just messaged in the Q&A and said, we will get certification of participation of this good webinar. I don't think we have a certificate made up, but you'll definitely be able to refer back to that YouTube link and send it out to other people if you want to share what you learned about biodiversity. So yeah, let me go ahead and get started. So, hey everybody, I'm Caroline, and I'm with the SciStarter team. I'm based in Washington, DC, but I'm originally from Orlando, Florida, and Asia definitely has a soft spot in my heart. I studied Mandarin Chinese as an undergraduate at the University of Florida, and I'm just really passionate about citizen science, which is public engagement and real research. So during this presentation, if you want to post on Twitter our Instagram, or any of your accounts about your excitement with this, please use the hashtag #CitSciMonth to kind of spread the word. CitSci is something we do each year. It used to be Citizen Science Day, but we decided, a day is not enough for all of our excitement. We need a whole month. And we also did the month because we wanted to be more inclusive of international participants. And I think that's a choice that's really paid off. In this month alone, we've done a webinar with citizen scientists in Nigeria. We've shared our Twitter accounts with the European Citizen Science Association and representatives from the Citizen Science Association of Australia. And we've had a number of events, online events added to SciStarter from all different time zones all over the world. So if you like this event and you're like, I want more, I want to attend more recordings, you can go to CitizenScienceMonth.org, and at the bottom of that page, you'll see all the remaining events, including something you'll hear about later today, the City Nature Challenge. So yeah, that's a little bit about me and how much I love citizen science and SciStarter. So to kick us off, I'm going to go ahead and launch a live poll. So I just want to know of people attending, have you participated in citizen science projects before? So please feel free to vote. We have 2 no's. Oh my gosh, that's really interesting. But we got a few yeses coming in. Keep voting. Keep on voting. No, I'm not sure yet. I think people are pretty sure, yes or no. All right, this is your last chance to get your votes in. 3, 2, 1. I'm about to close the poll. Last chance for real. End poll. So we're at about a 50-50 split of people who have done citizen science and people who haven't. Well, no matter what, you're in the right place. Because we're going to explain to you how you can get started with citizen science in Asia. So we'll do one more poll just to get some more information about who you are. So I'm going to launch this one now. So I want to know, and you can check all that apply. Are you an aspiring citizen scientist, a parent of an aspiring citizen scientist, a teacher, educator, community leader, a librarian or part of a library staff, just a bored person on the internet, or none of these? All right, so keep on voting. Got quite a few community leaders in here. This is great. All right, I'm going to leave the poll up for a few more seconds to let you all have a chance to vote. All right, 3, 2, 1. Last chance to get those votes in. And we're going to end the poll. So it looks like the majority of people here are teachers, educators, or community leaders. So to everyone who's here, including our bored people on the internet, welcome. We hope that you'll be able to learn something today. So Citizen Science Month, I mentioned that, it's an effort throughout April to celebrate citizen science, which is real science that anybody can do. So I always say that citizen science is a collaboration between scientists and those of us who are curious, concerned, and motivated to make a difference. And citizen science basically encompasses any way a person, just a regular person, a member of the public, can volunteer to bring science forward. So that can be everything through taking an observation through iNaturalist, which we'll learn about later today, and contributing to a global record of biodiversity, to doing a project like Stall Catchers, which is one of our featured Citizen Science Month projects, where you classify blood vessels and speed up the search for a cure to Alzheimer's disease. And you do that completely from your computer from home. So citizen science is really diverse. I say it's everything from astronomy to zoology, and everything in between. It's every single discipline of science, from the study of bugs to the study of microbes to the study of health and disease. And the reason why it exists is because there are certain types of research that scientists can't do without you. They need your help to move the world forward and create new knowledge. So like I said, hashtag #CitSciMonth. We have a number of graphics too, if you want to use those and post those and promote them in different places to get your friends and family doing citizen science. I see some people in the chat are coming on in. They're saying their names. That's awesome, where they're calling in from. Keep on introducing yourself in the chat. That would just be fantastic. So I like to play this video because I'm a numbers person, and I think it's really compelling. The video is about a year old, but it still has some good statistics. So on SciStarter, where I work, there are over 2,000 projects listed. So people go to SciStarter to put their projects on there to solicit volunteers. eBird's listed on SciStarter too. That's a project where you can take bird observations, and that's really important. One big bird count we do in the States every year was classified as a leading indicator of climate change. So citizen science research is really important. We know that flowers are appearing earlier, so seasons are changing because of citizen science data. We know that. And iNaturalist, over 92% of butterfly and moth records in GBIF are from iNaturalist. So, and also we found that citizen scientists speed up researcher time. So then we're able to do research faster as a scientific community. That's my little by the numbers video. I wanted to show this video too. This is a little bit more in the weeds. So let me quickly explain what SciStarter, I think I've mentioned a little bit what SciStarter is, but we're a place where we connect regular people to the real science they can do. So you can go to SciStarter, make an account, and then you can see all these different projects people have added. And then typically you go elsewhere to do that project. So for example, you'd make your SciStarter account, then you'd search for a project on SciStarter. You'd be like, I want a project where I can go outside and take pictures of butterflies. And then iNaturalist would come as an option. So then you'd click on the iNaturalist project and you'd leave SciStarter to go join it. But when you do that, SciStarter will automatically in your dashboard keep a record of all the projects you've joined. And for some projects like iNaturalist, they've gone the extra mile and become SciStarter affiliates, meaning that they allow you to track the number and frequency of your contributions in your SciStarter dashboard. And that's something we did by request for our communities because they wanted to be able to say, I made 600 contributions to stall catchers and 300 contributions to iNaturalist. And that just, for them, they're able to demonstrate their volunteer work. So I'm going to quickly play this video just so you can see on your screen how you can add your iNaturalist username to your SciStarter dashboard. There we go. So you go and log in to SciStarter. And you go to your info and settings. And that's where you input your iNaturalist username. So simple enough, right? So feel free, if you're inspired by this, to make a SciStarter account so you can keep on tracking your participation to other awesome projects. Then you can make an iNaturalist account and add your iNaturalist username to your SciStarter info and settings. And another fun fact with the SciStarter project finder, you can search by location. So let's say that you're in Bangladesh and you want a project that's specifically for Bangladesh. You can search for projects that are Bangladesh only. One example of a project I found that was really cool in Asia was there's a project called the Pakistani Air Quality Project, where he seems like a really inspiring person, the person who leads the project, but it's a project just about how to measure air quality in Pakistan. So some projects are global, like iNaturalist or stall catchers. You could do it anywhere in the world. And some projects are hyper local, and all of them are really important. So I mentioned the project finder, how you can search for different projects on SciStarter. And very specifically to our times, because I know some of you may be in countries where you're supposed to practice, physical or social distancing and leave the house at the minimum, you could search for projects that are indoor only and online only if you need to. Or you can do a project like iNaturalist and just follow public health guidelines. So I know where I'm based in Washington, D.C., I'm going to be doing iNaturalist this weekend for the City Nature Challenge. I'll just make sure to be 6 feet apart from the next person as I'm outside taking my observations. This is the SciStarter dashboard I mentioned, so you can track your projects in here. And this is our Citizen Science Month microsite. So you can find more online events like this one on CitizenScience.Month.org. And with that being said, I just wanted to thank you, the global citizen science community, for all the amazing work you've been doing in April. We've taken air quality observations globally. We've had people doing astronomy. There are projects that literally address COVID-19 that we've done as part of Citizen Science Month at SciStarter.org/COVID-19. So I just wanted to say thank you again and keep up the great work. And we'd love to keep on seeing the amazing work you're doing. You can tag CitSci Month on Instagram and Twitter. And also, I know Citizen Science Asia has Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook accounts as well. So keep on tagging them too. And thank you so much. I'm going to hand it over to our next speaker.
Thanks, Caroline. Yes, so now I want to ask Mindell Wong and Scott if they can introduce Citizen Science Asia a little bit to everyone and what the community of Citizen Science Asia is. Scott, Mindell, are you here?
Yeah, so we're going to do this tag team, and I'll do the first 6 slides, and then Mendel will do the second. So could, oh, do I have permission to share screen? Let's see. Does this work?
Yep, it's working.
All right, great. So yeah, thanks everyone for attending. Thanks SciStarter, thanks Caroline for helping this. We've been talking about webinars for a long time, so it's great that it's finally happening. Hello world from Asia. So this will just be a little introduction, like, you know, Caroline's done a great introduction on what is citizen science. So we don't need to cover that so much. We can just give a bit of some context on Asia, on the organization in Asia, and also, you know, talk a bit of biodiversity, because today is about Asian biodiversity. Yeah, so as Caroline said, you know, it's Citizen Science Month. We had a lot of fun doing a takeover of the CitSci Month social media, you know, social media feeds and stuff. So it's great that we could kind of like keep up the momentum and do an event for the month. So yeah, we've had a bit of an introduction on citizen science. There's a few things in the chat. Okay, is everything okay? All right, yeah, people are saying hello. So I don't need to cover that, but you know, why is citizen science important in Asia? Well, we have a long history here, right? The things like the cherry blossom counts in Japan have gone back over 1,000 years. Citizens have collected data on swarms of locusts for thousands of years in China. It's not a new concept here, but it's an important one, right? There's a lot of discussion, a lot of, you know, stuff happens in citizen science in Europe, in North America, in Australasia, but you know, mustn't forget about Asia. You know, we have 50 countries and 60% of the world's population here, but we can be a bit underrepresented in a lot of these conversations. And citizen science, this stuff is really needed here. There are huge, you know, we have this massive populations, and we have massive challenges because of climate change, pollution, loss of biodiversity here. So it's very important to engage, develop, and coordinate Asia amongst all of these other projects and things going on in the kind of international citizen science movement. This is a great map that shows the global biodiversity, right? So red, if you look on the map here, red means this is where all of the biodiversity is. But if you actually, and Asia is like very, you know, most of this biodiversity is in like South America, South and Central America, Africa, and the southern equatorial bits of Asia. But if you look at the amount of the completeness of biodiversity records, right? What the academics going out and cataloging, well, you know, biodiversity, and you know, to protect biodiversity, you have to catalog it. Unfortunately, this is all clustered to North America, Europe, and a bit of Australia, right? The biodiverse places are the least complete in terms of their biodiversity records, and so we need to fill those gaps, right? It's really crucial to catalog this stuff, so we know what we need to protect. And citizens have an amazing, you know, potential and opportunity to do this. And so Mendel and I, we're based in Hong Kong. Hong Kong is pretty typical in this for somewhere like Asia, so the world in general, that the citizens are far outpacing the academics, right? The professional researchers in cataloging biodiversity. You'll hear a bit about the GBIF database. This is the kind of like global database for biodiversity, and the vast majority of research grade observations there are from citizen science projects. In Hong Kong, the #1 project is eBird, #2 source is iNaturalist, and this is like 300 times more than Hong Kong University, our academics. Our school, we've been doing, so on top of City Nature Challenge, which you'll hear about later, a lot of this is driven through school challenges. One of the schools in Hong Kong managed to make 10,000 observations just on their own. This is 10 times more than Hong Kong University, for example. And so that was my introductory bit. Can I hand over to Mendel now?
All right, thanks, Scott. All right, let me just share my screen over here. Great. So yeah, just to pick up where Scott left off, yeah, in terms of just what CitizenScience.Asia is all about, it's the organization that Scott and I founded in the interests of sort of filling that gap, as he just sort of explained. Obviously, Asia is a quite critical piece to making sure, given sort of the population, given the size, geography, given the history, there's a lot of reasons why Asia can contribute quite a bit to citizen science. So what have we been doing as an organization since we founded it 2.5 years ago now, actually almost 3 years now? So we've been iterating over the strategy. We've managed to find volunteers to come help build on those ideas. And we've came up with 3 pillars effectively, conceptually, sort of to get us to where we need to be. And that's what I'll sort of just go through very briefly here. So one of the first things that we talked about is building up the community. The idea here being Asia in itself is not naturally sort of one cohesive unit, unlike sort of the North America, whether it's US or US and Canada, or Europe sort of as a coalition. So one of the challenges we have is trying to bring a very massive distribution of people across a number of sort of culture and sort of socioeconomic differences, and therefore also a lot of different cultural and diverse perspectives, trying to build a community to be in unison in these conversations at an international level. Just as a by way of explanation how this came to be, when Scott and I were running a specific citizen science project and we got invited to a global collaboration around these mosquito-borne disease issues, one of the things that we found was that there was no one from Asia at the table. And the reason being, it's really hard to get very eclectic people from all over the place, given sort of people have their own individual agendas all over. So one of the things that we decided that was necessary is that we really need to sort of find the commonality between us and Asia, so that these conversations can also incorporate a perspective from Asia. Whilst there's a whole lot of differences, there's also a need to sort of have a unified view, given there's a lot of commonality in that. So building the community here, connecting the people was sort of one aspect that was super important. And amongst the large population we have here, we decided that the initial focus really is around the people who are already doing citizen science. So we're initially trying to build those relationships with people running projects. They understand what a citizen scientist is, but at the same time, we're also organically doing sort of active outreach so that the general public is educated around what we do and hopefully can sort of join this community. A second pillar, a little bit more general and sort of very, I suppose, appropriate in this type of space, building capacity. So what does that mean? Citizen science is not necessarily new in terms of what it is. Terminology wise, I think it's a newer nomenclature, but we've been doing it for a long time, as Scott alluded to. But still, I think there's still a lack of understanding what it's about. And even more importantly, a lack of resources that contributes towards it. And one of the things that we have found in our journey so far, from where we started when we founded the organization, is that as we sort of collaborate with the international counterparts, one of the things that we found is that there are a lot of people top down who understand the benefit of leveraging citizen science in terms of solutions. And one of the places is around the Sustainable Development Goals that the UN is driving for 2030. So we're fortunate enough to be working with them at that very top level. But the understanding is that in order to leverage citizen science, you really need to have the community all be working, because the whole point is the collective whole that makes a difference. So how do we sort of build the platform so that Asia can actually leverage all the number of people we have here to sort of transform the quantity into something useful that can be coordinated to the community. So building that capacity on how we sort and organize all that information is super critical. So we're still working out a lot of that. We have a lot more questions and answers, but we're sort of working through that as one of the pillars. And part of that is also, in terms of building capacity, is not so much just how do you convert the logistics of all that information, but also is sort of to some degree culture or a mindset where in the East, there is a lot of assumptions around things are usually driven top down. So you look to the government, you look to the governing body, tell you what you're supposed to be doing. Whereas in the West, there's a slightly different general mindset. Okay, well, each individual can contribute. So part of the mindset in terms of knowledge sharing is also just trying to get people to shift their mindset. Hey, everyone can contribute to the solution. You don't really need to wait to be told. So that's also something that I'm working through in terms of building capacity, because fundamentally, all these individuals need to be sort of open to it for the system to actually work in capacity and to be scalable. The last area that we've been sort of focusing in is sort of the latter half of this, as we build up a community and having the capacity, is really building the conversations. So part of this is really obviously raising awareness in general. A lot of the things around climate issues now is all about sort of having those conversations and people being aware before you can sort of move forward on action. So part of what we're trying to do as well is building up on the other two pillars is really helping promote and raise awareness, and then working towards really encouraging partnerships with various entities here so that people understand, look, yes, it's a problem that needs to be solved, but how are you starting with it? Part of it is understanding, well, you know what, you can leverage open data, you can leverage the citizen science data, and with that, you can define the problem in a much more succinct way. Then we can sort of work together at that point in terms of having those conversations on working towards a solution. And so that's sort of a next step, just because there's a lot of things to be done before we can actually have these sort of productive, concrete, material conversations, whether it's social entrepreneurs or policymakers in the area. And obviously, there's a lot of different governments, policymakers that we're talking about, at least in the Asia space. So that is something that would need a bit of focus in order to get traction. So those are sort of the three main pillars in concept that we're focusing as an organization. So what I've really been doing over the last 2.5 years and looking forward, these are just some of the areas that we've sort of worked on and achieved in light of those sort of three areas. First of all, as I mentioned, we managed to find a lot of volunteers to be part of this leadership team, which is divvied up into a few different specific pillars of work to be done. One of them is engagement, which Adrian, who's hosting this call, is running. Effectively, is really just doing outreach to the individuals in the region so that we can understand what challenges they have, let them know what resources and help we can provide. Platform, sort of skipped over that a little bit in terms of detail as far as capacity is concerned, but part of it is just having a platform to be able to have information sharing, whether that to some degree is having a place that actually has all the resources as simple as a website, but also potentially a place to connect, whether it's for finding volunteers for projects, whether it's having material that can be translated so it can be re-leveraged. There are a lot of things from a technology standpoint as a platform that needs to be looked into. Education has sort of touched on both as far as changing people's mindset, but also just more fundamentally from a science standpoint, just educating people about how do you go out and do citizen science, how do you approach it in a scientific manner. And finally, partnership is what I was alluding to, where we need to build some of those connections, whether it's really with governmental sort of entities or whether those are private companies. So a lot of that is understanding at a group level organizations that we can work with to proceed with some of these goals. So far over the 2.5 years, aside from sort of leads that are taking on for those strategy pillars, we also have managed to sort of assign people to be ambassadors. We do have 10 official ambassadors across we call them chapters just because we don't really want it to be defined by national borders per se, and there are some debates of that in Asia, as you guys know. So really chapters just meaning an area within Asia as a sub-region. Is 10 plus because whilst some areas may not have formally an ambassador, we do have potentially members sort of sprinkled through those areas, or people we're sort of in conversation with who can potentially take on the lead role. But all in all, we sort of spread out across all the way from Japan across to obviously, as we have on this call, to Bangladesh and Pakistan as well. Sort of touched on our efforts in the international space. One of the things that we've been doing is being the Asia representation of sort of this global partnership. And I'll come to that in a second. I'll talk a little bit more about that. And then finally, the last couple of things is really what we've been doing as things like this, trying to share the things that people are doing in this region. A lot of times for citizen science work, I think a lot of the stuff in the US and Europe or Australia is quite well known, and there's a lot of people who understand it, and there's a big network on sharing that information. Whereas in Asia, it's sort of pockets of areas. So one thing we're trying to do is break down those barriers and highlight things that are interesting and being done here. Aside from highlighting is also just letting people know if there's a potentially duplicate or similar work being done, is hopefully people find synergy and sort of don't have to reinvent the wheel in certain cases if necessary. But yeah, but still lots to do. The roadmaps slowed down quite a bit over the last months, given Scott and I are in Hong Kong with back-to-back issues. So we'll have to see where that goes, but there's definitely a lot more things to continue in those three conceptual areas that we're talking about. So just a few highlights here. Obviously, one of the things is around connecting people across Asia and the world. The top half is just a sub-selection of the people who've been on the leadership team. So we've been very fortunate with these people volunteering in their own time to help be sort of brainstorming and thinking through sort of strategies on how we could improve the space. We've been putting together a digital community on a platform called Mobilize. We sent out our first newsletter 5-6 months back, and we're obviously needing to get more of those out, but hopefully there's an area where people can sort of convene and discuss projects and such. As I mentioned, this whole global partnership, this is the thing that as an entity, which is the entity informing, which is effectively us working alongside our counterparts, whether it's the Citizen Science Association in the Americas, there's a European version, there's an Australian version, there's ones that are up and coming in sort of the South Americas and also in the Africa regions. So the idea being, it's not possible for the UN to be able to work with all individuals across the world. So there needs to be some sort of strategic collaboration. And the idea is that through these network of networks, this is the Citizen Science Global Partnership, they could then work with us holistically on how to drive citizen science as part of the solution towards SDG. And then one of the main things I want to highlight on this is just the numerous resources that we've been putting together, content and resources over the last 2 years. So we do have a YouTube channel. We do have a Medium article where people submit their own stories. So just a summary of links of things you guys can refer to, and we can provide these afterwards. As I mentioned, there's the Mobilize community, which everyone who's not already on there can join it. It's as simple as join.CitizenScience.Asia. We already mentioned about the journal, the YouTube channels. We have the usual sort of social media presence, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn. So feel free to join any of those if you're on them. And finally, we do have a simple fact sheet of things that sort of summarize some of the things we just went through. And if not, send us an email, info@CitizenScience.Asia, or you can go to the web link there, which at the moment just leverages Facebook. All right. Adrian,
Thank you. Yeah, thank you, Mandel, and thank you, Scott. So yeah, we, as a member of Citizen Science Asia, we are really excited about having this webinar, also to meet new people and add to our community. So if you're interested and think that your project is really cool and want to share it with us and share it with the rest of the world, you can please join our community, and we can help you promote it as well. And if you don't have a project but you're interested, come join our community anyways. We can have discussions, and you can meet new people doing projects, maybe get connected with projects in your area. So yeah, we're really excited to see all of these comments and all of these new people joining the webinar. So now is time for our keynote speakers. First up, we have Shafiqul Islam from Bangladesh, and he's actually calling in today from Germany. And so he's going to talk to us today about his work with Wild Mentor and how citizen science data can be used in research. So Shafiqul, Safi,
Yep.
are you ready?
Yep. Can you see my screen?
Yes, we see you.
Okay, I'm just sharing my screen. Wait a second.
Yeah, you just press the green share screen button at the bottom, and then you should be able to share your screen.
Wait a second. I'm sorry.
No worries.
Yeah.
Right, there we go.
Yeah, thank you. So thank you guys, all of you here. I'm just having a talk on this topic. So I will describe just like how hard it is to develop a very small project in Bangladesh and how we are working, which stage we are now, and let's talk about it later. So if I want to back what we are doing, just collecting the data, what is happening last 100 or couple of 100 years, like collecting data, what is species is it? Before that, we are just writing the scientific name, whatever it is, like tabulating the data. And nowadays, people want to do that because we are lazy, all of new lazy guys, they're taking pictures or they're calculating in their phone. So in my, just wait a second, I need to just switch on, just like clicking on. Okay. So if you ask me, just comparing two science, I can just from my personal word, I just use the dry science and digital object. In this case, you can see, hello, you can see, just if I go a little bit farther, what scientists are doing, they're just calculating 3D modeling. If you want to describe a species, they need to describe new species and other things. If I go outside, what people are doing, they're just playing Pokemon Go, what kind of things, like this kind of game. But the output, ultimate output from the science, we are writing the book, PhD thesis, whatever it is, to the library. But if I look the people, what they are doing, Pokemon Go or other games, they're just playing, and then in the end, oh, we did these things and we got some points and we got some these things and this level. So behind the scene, if we look how their brain is working, in the both cases, they have ultimate output. One ultimate output is we are writing thesis or research, and one output is like just for fun. And my idea when I started this project, it's in 2012, even earlier, idea was, is it possible to combine this kind of thing, not only the games and people are doing fun, can we just describe some science in the funny way? That's our idea. And not only that, in this case, we wanted to work, in the time I was working in Bangladesh. So we wanted to see how we can connect more people, those are not in science, not in the school, outside of this school. That's our idea. So how, where, whom, is it feasible or not? So in that sense, we started this kind of project. That's our core, I can say it's a core structure. So we wanted to design or devise things or ultimate things. And in the middle, it will be like biodiversity monitoring and virtual world. We don't want to develop something like an industry, whatever it is, it will be virtual things. What is it? All of you already know that how citizen science is working. So in the collaboration of conservationists, just conservation awareness. So we wanted to visualize and public and scientist relationship place, but it should be virtual. And this data we can implement in the policymakers, conservationists, and others. So we want to develop this kind of virtual world. That's the idea. And from that sense, we just developed this project for Bangladesh. I think some of you already know my country, very small country in Southeast Asia. And question is very straightforward. When I started this project, I asked some of my colleagues from my personal resource, like personal connection, where and they're asking why we are selecting Bangladesh, not other countries. So idea was very straightforward. We have, right now, I can tell you it's a 180 millions, not 160 millions. So we have active mobile devices, 140 million phone. It's really huge number. So idea behind that, is it possible to do something with the mobile phone? And all of you know already, Bangladesh is very close to China, So very, like, if you spend 50 euros, you can buy a smartphone. So smart device, smartphone, if we can work with a smartphone, then it will really work. And then another question I can just tell you, like before Wild Mentor, we didn't have this kind of app, and it's a developing country, and we already have 2% of the species already extinct, and 25%, 24% species are endangered. So idea behind of that, population, endangered nature, huge smart device, and of course we have enough people, my friends and other colleagues, those can help develop this project. And then we started this project. And then I just say why it is the logo. I can just, very interesting information for all of you. We did a survey. How many percentage, like we did a survey around 82 people, plus minus. And then we ask one question, what you did today morning. So just we ask them, can you tell us the national animal name correctly? We found plus minus 80% people said wrong. Just think about the depth of the nature knowledge. So we just say, okay, so it was not a big thing, but of course, if you should know the national animal name, what it is, right? So we found this interesting. I was like, oh, okay, we should take it as our logo, and that's why logo is like that. So, and then this is our website, www.wildmentor.org or wildmentor.de, whatever you can see. And then we just like started to work this project. So our first project, how it was, I can just show you. The video should be open. So this is our interface. You can just open this app and you can see randomly the animal, and then you can just, if you click like that, can you see my mouse? Can you see? Okay, so it was the idea. If you click on that, then you can see the description of this species. Okay, so, and then we tried to develop the map. It's, I think I am talking now 2014, not now. We tried to Google Map and this, that way, but it was really like that because we didn't have idea how we can develop it by R right now. And of course, we had a 2 button here. So for one button, like you can see the different stages of the animal, and another button, how many species you can see. So another one is how many, the same species, what you saw the picture, like same species, the collecting data in citizen science. So, and then we wrote a script in R. If you give a data here, it will automatically store this kind of map in the behind the scene. Like, or if you're asking, we can just give it free, or you can see in the screen. Theoretically, it is worked, but as I mentioned here, theoretically it is worked, but practically, no, it's not possible. But of course, we have a code. And other things also, people had different groups, they can go like different families, and they have their own profile, and so on. And here, then in the first year, we released this project, and then we had 281 users. I can say, like, day by day, they're losing their energy. And in the end, it was like only 20 or 30 people. And then in the end of the year, we revised our project. This is one of my friends, he's working in a Smithsonian and LMU. And he said, Shofi, it's not possible. And we just discussed how we can go. So idea behind of that, it's not possible. This is not working. People don't want to give the data, and they don't want to stay, this kind of things. This is completely failed project. Then we just started our project completely zero. Again, completely zero. We just like, I can just say, I mentioned here, when we saw just after 1 year, only 30 people are staying with us among 280 people, we had to start from the zero. Even we couldn't use our interface, completely zero. So even I can say paid people, we had some paid people, some people non-paid. Non-paid people left with paid people. So no, 7 to 8 people are existing. So I can just mention here 2 people. So this guy is from Toronto, University of Toronto. This guy from Smithsonian, this guy University of Munich, and I'm from also Munich, and some people from Bangladesh, IPS University, they're staying with us. So then other countries people, and then I just try to collect, like contacting with other people from like Italy, USA, Spain, Germany, and others. They are just helping me, okay, I need this and that. They're helping. And then we just say, okay, let's go for big scale. And then we did a survey with my university, previous university, Jagannath University, Bangladesh, some of my friends, some of my younger university students, and they helped me to do this kind of research. What kind of thing people need? Because why people left us? That's my big question when after releasing this project. And then we found completely different result. What is people are doing outside of the country? That means like some people has an interest with birds, some people with reptile, and some people has a both interest in one place. Some people don't want to give that. It's really, really crazy results. And I think two guys are here today from my university, Salahuddin and Jayed. I don't know they're listening or not, but they're here. So, and then we designed completely new interface. Completely, this is the new interface what is existing in Google Play Store. That means even people don't want to click on the app. I can just tell you one interesting thing. We found those people just download, they don't know what is the app. And then if it takes 5 clicks, they just say goodbye. Just think about it. Just say goodbye. I don't want. If you're asking, can you register? Just say goodbye. If you're asking, give me the data, goodbye. It's keeping the people and this kind of things, it's really getting tough. And anyway, and then some people don't understand. They say, oh, English, I don't care. I need Bengali, even they're scientists or they're in my areas. So we had to develop a multilingual. It's a mother language and English. And of course, we use phonetics because all the people cannot correctly just write the species name, Bengali and English, and then so we develop it. And of course, in this group, and one interesting question is, we had before this top button, different families, people couldn't detect it. It was in the left side, and then we had to open it in the below, like other source media, then they can found the animal families. For example, like if you click on the plus, then it will open like a pop-up, and then you can see, okay, mammal, which one I'm looking. That means I'm carrying the people. They're listening, they want to find something. So, and now, interesting thing. So and then if you go to the species, and then you just click on the animal, whatever it is. So, and if it is a bird, we collected the bird songs. It's not our collection. We just took it with the collaboration of, I forgot the name, European. Anyway, Zenocanto, sorry. We collected those are available, and we just, with the collaboration with them, with the song, you can just listen to the song. And if you have want to description, the description is there in below. If you go scrolling down, then you can see the map of this species, where this occur, and different colors says different things. So, and not only that, and then we found, okay, people are living also say, oh, do you have something others? They don't want to click, they want to get more information. That's why we develop these things. What is the similar, like you say Kingfisher and other Kingfisher will be below. Just click other one, then it will be popping up for other people. Other species. And then we found some people say, okay, is it possible to adding some Wikipedia page, because they want to, like those people are really interested, they want to read in the Wikipedia because it's easy. And then we just making this kind of popping up Wikipedia, and you can just click on this species, same species is popping up, and then it will, like whatever it is they want to read, but you are still in the app. So this is the today's morning I discussed with some of you. It's interesting thing is for the map. When we released or preparing the preparing this app, we found this interesting thing. Our first map based on the district, very small places in the country. Can you see the right map? Can someone answer? Okay, this map. This is our actual map, what we developed by R. This is the released map. So I can tell you, we developed this map. We want to give the people interactive way. Which animal is like around you, which animal is 5 kilometers or 10 kilometers. And then we found some people are following to collect geckos and other animals for poaching. So we had to discuss with the forest responsibilities, those people are working, and they said, okay, hello, you have to change this or you have to kick it out, the map. Because due to this kind of interesting thing, because they're also following, okay, where they can find this species. And that's why we just make it, this map is a little bit bigger area, although we develop this kind of right side map. Okay. So, and then we found some people says, okay, app is nice, but we wanted to share our picture or every day what we can see. So this is our like home button. You can just go, you can upload your image and you can share your feelings, whatever it is. This is like that. Other people can give love. It's like a Facebook and social medias. And then we detected, I think iNaturalist also have it, to detect artificial intelligence. So we just use the free version from Google, but we still, we didn't open it because it's like 10,000 people can use 10,000 till 10,000 is free per month. But it's if we go for more, then we need to pay. That's why we just like close it. But it's still it's in functional in our app. So we have our own messaging system. So it's a controlling, like those people has access in this admin panel, they can answer, general people can write to us. So more or less, we just, after getting all the data from the people, and we develop this kind of system. Wait a second. So, and home, like still we are working to develop the profile for the people and what people can upload. So their profile, what they're working, and then here it will be like counts, what animal they can see, offline counts and online counts. So they can get an Excel file in their email. So if someone says going somewhere else and they can want to count, or they can do their research, we will put it here, offline counts here and other things. So, and our idea is in this year, we want to collect like this way, if like people are updating their data, like, or sharing their data, we want to announce like t-shirt weekly and monthly, very little gift, or yearly some gifts. This is our idea, but it's still not implemented. We are thinking. So how far we are? My university team in Jagannath, they're really crazy. These guys are really crazy. They have like, I can say 80% of the flora and fauna data from the like more or less basic mapping and other things data. So if we go for further process, we can just go for 80% for the species describing inside the app or our system. So it's not a big deal for us. So how now question is coming, how we are dealing these things. So interactive these things is not difficult at all. It's really like we have our own server. And it's a Google Play Store and it's an app. So we are controlling everything from our home. So it's not that complex at all. So, and if you say like, okay, how we can specify even users, and we have a backend panel, you can specify this user allowed to do that. If you can just like say, this guy pushing something crazy, you can just control him. Okay, no, he cannot update, or you can just lock him. And in the data backend is like that, one solution foundation or something like that. Okay, and so I should like have a couple of slides, and before going to next things, I should say these university students are with us. So first I should say, it's started this project from my university, Jagannath University, and then join other universities, Dhaka University, Jahangir universities, and of course my working institution, Senckenberg. Those are supporting me at all, like a lot, and Smithsonian, and Natural Study and Conservation Club in Jagannath University, and LMU and Bangladesh Bird Club. So other institutions also working with us. So, and last year when we released our app, it's some like TV news and other things when we inaugurate our app. So some of the like guests, and you can see some TV news and other things. It's just like one kind of marketing. And then so far, what we did last year, we were the collaborator. Like Wild Mentor, we have a like IT team, big IT team, and our IT team were like, we are collaborating with Zoology Olympiad across the country. So this is our banner in last year, and I think it's happened like 30 to 40 universities across the country, and then it was the end up with the champion of the country, first, second, and third with some gifts. So, and right now we have our app. Last night I checked it, it's a 6,100, but if you see the front end of the Wild Mentor app, I will send it in the link later, or if you want, I can just send it now. So 5,000 plus installed, and a couple of thousands are using. And not only that, last year we also co-organizer of this butterfly fair. I think some people are writing something. Okay, I will answer later. So we were the co-organizer in this event, Butterfly Fair, in the Jahangir University with other organizations. So right now, I don't know, my IT director is here or not. I want to invite him, but I couldn't. So this is our new web portal. So web portal is like something not complicated at all. So if you open like it's another version in the web. So if you open our web portal, you can see like this, just like nice picture. Wait a second, some people writing to me, even no. Okay, so if you open this portal, I'm sorry, I need to close it. Hello. So if you open this portal, you can see this kind of interface, and then of course different groups of the animal family, like reptiles, amphibian, butterflies. If you just go down, then you can see this kind of things. This kind of like different species. It's a randomly selected. So for the birds, it's also like same randomly selected app. So in the app, we are thinking, I'm like from my idea, I'm working in molecular data, like, so idea behind of that, we are giving all the people permission to share this kind of image and detail in their Facebook and social media. And it will be like bilingual, my mother language, because it's project from Bangladesh, and in English, whatever they want. So this is the button they can share. And second thing is, of course, this distribution map. We want to just give a very easy map for interacting. We don't want to be in a trap for the country, or like we don't want to break any kind of rule. So in the below of that, if you just click on that, it will be like Wikipedia page. If you want to collect the data from GB for other resources, like for the encyclopedia, is specific species based. And if you want to check this kind of species data from GeneBank, this should be available here. And if you want to go for red list, you can see. Even if you want to work with barcode data, you can see from there. So this project is ready to go, but we are just still working. So our idea is this end of this year, we wanted to ensure our people can use this Wild Mentor app or web portal in all kind of media, like tablet, computer, or desktop, whatever you want. And right now we are just struggling, or not struggling, we are working. So how we can convert written knowledge to like YouTube videos, social media. That means different kind of like YouTubers. We have some friends, those are working in this world with the graphics. Like some scientists describe the species 50 years ago. We just like say, okay, taking a couple of pictures and making 1 or 2 minutes video and posting it. So we are trying these things, and we already have like 50 to 60 videos, and I'm just waiting for 100. Then I will say, okay, hello, this is here, but still we are coming. So, and for the identification, those people are uploading their picture. Right now, we didn't use the artificial intelligence to taking out the information, because if you upload a picture, we will automatically asking where, like GPS location, or you have to, because we have some condition. If you want to update, you have to give the information. So we will get geolocation. That means then we want to, our idea is use artificial intelligence to taking out the information from this or that species. Those will be default, then we can manually correct. So this is the idea. And yeah, as I said, we will go with all the media, like tablet, computer, and other things. So, and interesting thing, you will love it. This project or other projects, no funding at all till today. It's self-financed. And yeah, so our IT team, personally, just like when we are working, we paid some very little money to our IT team, but other people non-paid. That means voluntary work till today. If you know something, just raise your hands. That's the message. So I want to share one of my colleagues. He's here for the announcement, our IT. Can I go back to the panel? Hello.
Hello.
Can you just add one of my colleagues? He's from IT director. Shah is here. He's already here. He should be. Anyway.
Yeah, for sure. What's his name?
Shah Saqib. He should be here.
There he is. All right, I'm promoting him to panelist.
You can promoting him. So in the meantime, he's like, okay, you can just connect him. I'm just opening something. So this is, can you see my screen?
We can see your screen, yeah.
Okay, I'm just in the meantime, I'm just taking time. This is our coming blog, like online things. So this is the message. So as I said, you can go down, you can see the species, whatever it is. So you can just like say, okay, I want to see this, like, for example, this is this one you wanted to see. Okay, so this is the idea. This is the picture of the species, and so description, and of course the map, and below now Wikipedia, other things will be added one by one. And of course, it's, if we have a here also one loop you can see. So you can see the loop, like this is the same genus of species. You can see like group means we are just like little bit genus, like all the snakes are here. That means we want to keep you inside of this science. Okay, and and question is, you can say, okay, why, what is the perspective for citizen science? Our idea is we try to keep the people inside of this, to giving that like collecting that data, and we couldn't keep the people inside. So our idea right now is other way around. We are giving the people lots of things, this and that, and of course we will putting below each picture, did you see this species in your area? Okay, so we will collect this way the data, or we will make a offline mapping. People can go to the nature, they can collect. An idea behind of that, they are not going to kicking out the map or our application system very easily, because there are lots of information they will lose, or this and that. That means like trade-off, giving something, oh, if you delete you will lose it. On the other hand, if you have it, you should give us some information. So we are just like trying to making a standard things for us. And this is our previous website, I should say. This is our previous site. So we just like, we had some blog and we are just writing, and this, as I said before, those people our strength. These people our strength. Those people are working since starting our project since 2012. And of course, especially I have to mention this guy. This guy is really, really working on butterfly. He's really crazy. And he's the ornithology guy. And these both also in herpetology section, mammalogy section. So they are working really hard, really hard. And I should show you just one small thing with that. This is our app. This is our Wild Mentor app in Google Play Store. And yeah, this is the app. You can see, just if somebody has an interest or like to see, okay, what he is talking, just go and Google Play Store, write Wild Mentor. So we have like 5,000, it should be 6,100, that is an update. So still we are working, and our IT director is here. Shah is here. Can you hear me? Hello.
I think they might be muted.
Oh, okay. Okay. So if he cannot hear me,
template so formed and allowed to settle down. Settle in the portal. Before analysis, 11.
I think, did I promote the right person to panelist?
Okay, so I just continue. I'm just continuing. I think if possible in the end, I will try to add him, or I will tell you. Okay, so anyway, so our idea is behind of that. We don't say our idea is right, because like artificial intelligence, other thing, naturalists, other people are working since long, and they have lots of scientists. We want to collaborate. So second idea is what our IT director wanted to say today for all of you. Like those people has an interest to work with your country, with your local language, with your data, or with your something. So we can provide support. Like if you say, okay, you want to put your data, your country data, and you can use it multilingual, and it will be provided like that. So backend panel we have, and we have just like Mentor app and your country. So you will get all the country location data you can work. So we want to help, and it would be really nice if my IT director is here. He can just explain very well. So, and second thing is, I'm also working with citizen science data. It's a GB data. It's a last month, one of I think, can someone display has a problem? I got some messages. Can you see me, my screen?
Yep, we can see your screen.
Okay.
Yes, no
so I don't
problem.
know.
We see it really
Okay.
well.
Okay, so this is our last month. One of my colleagues in our research team, he published. It's from GBIF data, mostly from GBIF data and our data. So ecological modeling. So what's the present status or ecological habitat suitability of this species? What was the last glacial maxima habitat suitability of this species? So we can provide also support for the research. Not only that, like, okay, collecting data, this and that. So we are here. And okay, so right now, I want to summarize more or less last slide. So this is the very small project in Bangladesh. Is the starting project, and we are trying to adjust with new media technologies, and we are trying to organize some programs, and we are trying to do something for the nature, and of course, conducting with all of you. So idea behind of that, we are just baby today, and maybe it will grow up, or maybe it will die. So more or less. And I want to thank my team. Those people are really, really working since starting until today without asking not a single coin of the money. Just like say, okay, we want to do something for the nature. Thank you. Thanks to all. Now I'll be happy to answering some question. I will open the chat box, and can someone pass the questions? I will be happy to answer.
We had one question come in for you. Yoon Kim asked, how do you deal with the quality of data? One of our biggest difficulties is sorting through data when there's a lot of data points.
Okay, so first of all, I should say, like, we have a big team. Those people are working like at least 3 people in each group, like Lepidoptera, like say reptiles and others. So we have a basic mapping. Basic mapping, that means this part of the species are existing this species, this part of the country existing this species and that species. So first we are sorting by these experts, student experts. Those are working in this area since a couple of years. So like this way, we are just dealing with the quality of the data. And from the people, those people say yes or no. That means still, like say, general people when uploading the data, how we will deal, it's still we are not ready to deal with that, because our server is not ready to move. We will move to cloud, then we will open these things.
Another person asked you, does your project upload into the GBIF database?
So any more question?
Yep, someone asked if your project uploads into GBIF.
No, still we are not. No, still not. So I'm curious about the maps. Does he use Google? Is it from another source? I naturally doesn't work in China because we are just using R. For the map, we are using simply R. ggplot2 or ggplot2 is the best. So you're just simply coding by R, nothing else. It's R mapping. And yeah, if you need help, just write to me or write to us. I will provide this email to our R guy who is working in Smithsonian in Colombia. I will, okay. How easy to upload another country? I don't think so it will be a big problem. Yeah, in China, they have some problem for these things. But if you're working inside of China, I don't think so it will be a big problem, because you are uploading the data from inside of the countries. That means you have a right. It should have it. Can easy it would be update another country. Yes, of course. We are ready to help you. China, I have to check my IT director could be the best person to answer this question. I am quite optimistic. It will not be a big deal. But China, I need to check. Only the China country, I need to check. I don't know the inside of the country. But other country, it will be really easy, because our whole system is ready to for other country. Idea will be like that. If you're using from Pakistan, then algorithm will check, do they have Pakistani data in the system? If they have it, then they will ask like that. The algorithm will be developed, or we have it algorithm like that. If when you open an app, it will by default, it will check your country geolocation. It will automatically checking. And if we check your country's geolocation, then it will hitting the data algorithm. Okay, this is the like for example Myanmar. Someone asking, so it will hit the Myanmar, and it will taking the data Myanmar bilingual, like like own language and English or whatever it is. They will taking the own data set, but system will be the same. And yeah, that's the way how we are dealing. Algorithm we already wrote it down. So country-wide algorithm already ready. Yes. I didn't check it for Myanmar in iNaturalist. That's a reality. I don't know. What should I say? I didn't check the algorithm. And reality is that I didn't check the algorithm. I need to check it. I need to check the algorithm one line by line. Then I can tell you the iNaturalist algorithm, what is inside or what is outside. I don't want to answer without reading the algorithm. Any more questions? Hello?
All right, I don't think we have any other ones. So thank you so much for your presentation. I learned a lot, and I'll yield the floor over to Adrian for our next introduction.
Yeah, thank you everyone for the great questions, and thank you so much, Shafiqul. And so now that we've learned about app creation, let's talk with Professor Tundao Lim from National Jai University, who's going to talk to us about his work with iNaturalist in Taiwan and engaging people in citizen science focused on biodiversity.
Okay. So can you see my screen?
Yep, we can see it.
Okay. But I cannot see my screen, sorry. Wait.
It says double click to enter full screen mode. So if you double click it, it should show up.
Okay. Can you see that?
Not yet. I think Adrian has
No.
your slides as a backup, so she can share for you.
Okay.
So did you try double clicking?
Okay.
There it is. We see it.
Great.
Okay. So I'm Chen Taoling from Department of Biological Resources, National Jai University in Taiwan. And today I want to talk about promote and engage iNaturalist and City Nature Challenge in Taiwan. And the first part, I will introduce the backgrounds, especially for biodiversity, citizen science in Taiwan, and the motivation to promote iNaturalist, and some statistics of current status of promoting iNaturalist and our future plans and challenges. In Taiwan, we have a lot of citizen science projects, including it's a very famous location-based awareness of sensing system. We use several micro sensors to collect the data, especially for air pollution data. Then we set up more than 1,000 sensors, and we show the data on the website, and the people can check out their air status nearby. And we also have several biodiversity clubs on Facebook, just like the first one is the Taiwan Road Observation Network. The previous platform was on Facebook. They used Facebook to collect the roadkill observations in Taiwan. And after that, they created a website to collect the data. And it is also the most famous citizen science project in Taiwan. And we have also the other like MOS Information Center, and also some mammals, reptiles, or amphibian clubs on Facebook. So there are several smaller projects based on Facebook clubs. Okay, and here I want to explain some collecting data models, because collecting data is very important for biodiversity platforms. The first one is tailored platforms such as Tyrone. They design mature website, and they can use their website to collect the data, or develop the application to collect data. Second one is a community-based user group, and then most of them just use Facebook, social media, and they just engage people, and the people just put the photos or recordings to the Facebook. And it needs a lot of people to organize and tidy up data on Facebook. And so the general process is just like here below. The first one is to define objectives and target specific taxon or several taxa, and design experimental methods. Then second stage is crowdsourcing. And we are also put some information on social media to request people to engage the project and ask them to collect the data. And the third part is to analyze and interpret the data. So analysis of this data is very important, because some data may be biased. So you have to use some techniques to compile the data into structural forms, then import the data into relational database. And it needs a lot of people to do this, especially if you put data on Facebook. You need to collect the dates, the timestamps, and the target of this photo, and the people who took this picture, etc. Okay, just like this. This is one club. It's a most information center. They use Facebook to collect data. So if volunteer who wants to upload their data, they just put a picture and put the timestamp here, like here, this 2000, January 17th, and the location. As here, you can just see it's Chinese character, but it's only a part of the address. It just say this is a Shuangcheng Road, the 45 land. So we don't know which county it is. So we need to check our database to find out which county. Okay, so there are a lot of problems if we use such kind of social media to collect data. And at that time, I just think if we develop a system which could be use some automatic ways to collect data, and even you can use some GPS or some automatic script to collect data, it would be better than put data on Facebook or such kind of social media. Yeah, and this is a problem. So the motivation of promoting initiatives in Taiwan just based on this question. So I was thinking about how to develop an application to collect this biodiversity data. And in the first beginning, I just survey a lot of platforms, and most of the platforms just based on social media. So it's not easy to collect data. So I just found out iNaturalist, and I used it for a while. And I thought it was very excellent for data collecting, especially in biodiversity data. So now, today I checked the data in iNaturalist. So it's about 40,000 verifiable observations in Taiwan. And it's about more than 12,000 observers and about 5,000 identifiers. So here I just make a table. You can see here we have 12,000 observers, and about 72 people who, who has more than 1,000 identifiers. And compared to other countries, I think we have a lot of data, but we still need a lot of efforts to improve the data quality. And this 40,000 verifiable observation includes about health. Health is about the plant, and 1/3 is the insect here, the red area here. Okay, and includes about 11,000 taxa, and 40% is plant, and almost 40% are insects. Okay, so if we check out the database of Taiwan, TICO means Taiwan Catalog of Life, we have a total of 60,000 species published on the database, and on NHList, it's about 13,000 verifiable observations. The coverage is about around 20%, and the plants is about 49,000 observations, verifiable observations. The total number is 9,000. And insects also the similar. And the highest coverage of taxa in Taiwan is amphibian. So you can see there are 42 species recorded on NHList, and the total number of TICO is 43. And we also create NHList Taiwan groups on Facebook, so people can ask questions here, and they can also engage and promote some materials on this Facebook group. And I also create some learning units here, like this first unit is NHList setup and register. You can just register here, and you can learn from the Facebook interface. Then active projects, we have a lot of projects here, but this one is, I think, is the most important because it is one of the earliest projects in Taiwan, and the data quality of this project is very, very, very good. And the curator is very aggressive, and he is also willing to help other members to identify unknown species. And he also publishes a monthly report to tell the member how many new species recorded in this project, and also with multiple languages. And the Society of Wideness is most important in Taiwan because it's, I think, is one of the largest NGO in Taiwan, and I think there are more than 1,000 members. Then one of the important mission is to do habitat stewardship. So from the northern part to southern part, there are more than 13 habitats. So in 2018, they used iNaturalist to collect data. So it would be easier than the previous method, because the previous method, they need to use the paper to write everything, then digitize the data, then put down the database. Then they need to use some method to visualize the data. So it will be difficult for them to organize all of these data. So after they introduce iNaturalist to collect the data, it becomes easier to visualize all of the data, and they can also download all the data, then do further research. So until now, there are more than 100 NHS projects in Taiwan. And this is one of the important annual investigation of their habitat. So you can see the last year they have 55,000 observations and include about 5,000 species. And the experience to develop and promote iNaturalist in Taiwan, I think there are 3 stages. The first one is initial stage. It's very important because on the menu of iNaturalist, they just describe you have to try and test by yourself. So I use iNaturalist for about maybe 2 weeks. Then I take photos, I create projects, I help others to identify the species. Then after that, I feel I am already familiar with the interface of iNaturalist. I try to promote iNaturalist to my students. Then the students just thought it is a little bit difficult because a lot of species are just displayed as their scientific name or English names. So they don't know what it is, because in Taiwan, we usually use the common names to describe the taxa. So the first thing in this initial stage is to translate the web and the mobile interface as soon as possible. So I spent about 2 weeks to translate almost all of the mobile interface. So after that, I contacted the staff in iNaturalist and I gave them the database of common names and the scientific names table. And then they can help to put all of the common names on the iNaturalist website. So adding the local common names is the very important stage in the initial stage. Okay. Then the second one is expanding stage. So I gave lectures and about, I think maybe 1 or 2 lectures of a month. Then I have also held workshops, 2 workshops during the 2.5 years, and to engage people to know what is the iNaturalist and what can we do with iNaturalist. And the third stage is stable growing stage. I still continue to hold training courses and workshops and start to collaborate with our local NGOs like Society of Wilderness, and contact local and central biodiversity conservation agencies such as Forest Bureau or Endemic Species Research Institute in Taiwan. So here you can see the trends here. So I started to promote iNaturalist around October in 2017. So you can see here, this initial stage, we have about less than 1,000 observations of a month. Then in the expanding stage, you can see it's almost exponential trends here, and reach about 10,000 observations of a month. Then in the third stage, stable stage, it's about 10,000 to 20,000 observations of a month. So you can see here is a highest peak here. Is April 2019. Is why we have such peak, because we held the first CitizenScience Challenge in Taiwan. So I engage a lot of people and students in Jiayi. Then they participated and they collected a lot of data about, I think it's more than 30,000 observations per this month. Okay, so in January of this year, I start to train city volunteers for iNaturalist because I think it's time to expand then let a lot of volunteers to participate in several projects, and they can just contribute their skills, especially for different kind of textile identifications like mammals or amphibians or reptiles or plants. Okay. So about translation, I think translation is very, very important for non-English users, especially for the users in East Asia. So many users just ask questions before translation because they don't know what is the species name. Okay, and it is also important for the students, because most of the students also are not familiar with scientific names. So complete vernacular and common names are really necessary. And also education toolkits, we have to translate into our local languages. Then people can read the manual, read the handbook to understand how to use iNaturalist. So here I use to make the control vocabulary, because there are different kind of translations. So the first step is to make control vocabulary, then translate as soon as possible. Okay, just like on iNaturalist website, you can see here, you can add your local names here. Okay, you can also put here is Chinese, traditional Chinese. And you can also put different kind of common names here. Okay, it's the interface of iNaturalist translating platform. iNaturalist use Cloudin, so you can join Cloudin and help to translate into your local languages. And I also use online collaboration platform. I use HackMD. It is very easy to use, and you can request your collaborator to participate, and they can also do some version control and modularize your documentation, which means you can create a lot of different handouts, then organize them into one place. Okay, it is the interface of HackMD. And I also use iNaturalist to develop education toolkits. So this is the documentation I try to develop the inquiry-based learning. Okay, so define the concept and design the learning unit, and also define the objectives to develop the inquiry-based learning. Okay, and I think it's what is worth mention is why developing biodiversity citizen science in Taiwan is very good, because we have very strong support from government agency, like from Forest Bureau or Endemic Research Institute in Taiwan. And we have also excellent telecommunications infrastructure, even in very high mountain area or offshore island. We have very good signals. Then I think it's also important important item is in Taiwan, the open culture and open data policy of government agencies is very important, because in the recent 10 years, I think the government promotes open data and open culture. So we have very strong open culture society. And in Taiwan, we have also a lot of public awareness, especially in the field of biodiversity and environmental protection field. So you can check the LOS. It is location-aware sensing system, especially for monitoring air and water quality. And Ogo Reef, this is Saving Ogo Reef Ecosystem Association. Oh, sorry. And the future challenge and plans, I try to connect enthusiasts, NGOs, and government agencies in this year, and continue to construct quality assessment procedures. So this year, I try to ask a student to develop the quality assessment research of iNaturalist in Taiwan, and continuing to develop a local education toolkit for different ages. I think it's also important to engage more people because in the first stage, I only engaged university students and high school teachers. So if we develop a comprehensive educational toolkit, we can extend to junior high school or senior high school students. And also, we support the biodiversity data open. So this open data can support the decision making. And in Taiwan, we created a TBN, which means Taiwan Biodiversity Network. It is a data portal established by Endemic Research Institute in Taiwan. They try to connect all of the open data, either on Facebook, social media, or iNaturalist, or some investigations from government agencies. So you can obtain the data from this TBN portal. And of course, it is open. So you can use this data to analyze and then to support some decision-making strategies. And also, I try to join the international network to become a member of iNaturalist network. So I hope we can join maybe next year. And also, we are going to participate in City Nature Challenge 2020 in Taiwan. This year, we have more than 13 counties, almost more than 2/3 of counties in Taiwan, from north to south, including Northern Taiwan, Taoyuan, Hsinchu, Central Taiwan, Jiayi, and Tainan and Kaohsiung. And we try to how to say, because it's now pandemic status of COVID-19, so it's a little bit difficult to promote because the government requests us not to get together, to keep the social distance. So it's not easy to hold big events. So now I try to engage our students to form small groups, and they can go to the field to collect the data this year. Okay, here are some photos of our training workshop and courses of iNaturalist. These people are volunteers of Yushan National Park. And this is one colleague of my department. He's a pteridologist, and he helped us to make some fern identification. Okay, thank you.
This was awesome. Thank you so much. So do we have any questions?
Oh my gosh, they're all pouring in. Someone said, thank you for sharing your work on iNaturalist in Taiwan. In your opinion, how much change, policies, or behavioral change has resulted from the public awareness and the open data available to decision-making bodies for biodiversity or other environmental uses? What are the challenges to make change happen?
Well, Sorry, I have a little bit nervous. So I think the most big challenge is to increase the data quality, to enhance the data quality, because we have a lot of enthusiasts who are willing to contribute to their data. So how to control the data quality, I think is the next step we have to face. Just like if we collect the data, many people collect the same data. Just like if you use iNaturalist, you observe one individual, maybe one trees in the field. How to know, how to control the, how to say, because it would be some spatial autocorrelation or some special issues. So we need to find out the method to fix it. And also we can find many data just along the roadside or the hiking trails. So maybe there are some kind of data bias. So I think the best solution is to create systematic grids. Then you can control the data quality, and you can do some systematic survey. Then you can know which grid you need to do more efforts, and which grid you have already a lot of data, and you can just move to other poor data grids. And it's what we already apply this method on our BBS, breeding bird survey, every year. And also the Christmas bird counting, we also use this method to survey. And also the roadkill project, also the same method. So because it is still on the very first beginning of promoting iNaturalist in Taiwan, we have only 2.5 years, but like a roadkill project in Taiwan, it's about, I think it's about almost 10 years. So it's a very mature project. So they have a lot of experiences. So I think we can learn a lot from these projects. Okay. And another question is, receive marine life observation from local divers. Yes, we have some volunteer divers like Coral Reef Protection Association. They have a periodic survey every year. They also upload a lot of marine life observations on iNaturalist.
What about other people, just citizens, not necessarily part of an organization? Have we had any marine life observations just from people diving and cunding for fun?
I think maybe, but I don't know much more about marine organisms.
Yeah.
Okay, any questions?
Yeah. Hello. Hello.
Yes.
Hi.
Yeah, myself, Dr. Hassan.
Hi, Assam.
Yeah, Dr. Hassan. So I wanted to know about the systematic data on biodiversity that is available in the Taiwan, which can be shared in a greater aspect, so that we should know about what are the generally the endangered, critically endangered, vulnerable, rare, or threatened, or data deficient the species in your country. That is, it is very not clear, but whatever you have given the lecture, that it is very nice, and we have become enlightened about this. So about the systematic data on the biodiversity is concerned about your country like Taiwan and the different places concerned, especially concerned with the animal sciences. That is, it may be available.
Yeah, because actually we have some systematic survey and funded
Okay.
by government agencies, but these data are
Okay.
just go into type if data directly.
Okay.
Some part of data just go to type if, and I think because most of the participants on NHS in Taiwan, they just citizen scientists or amateurs. They
Okay.
just feel they just took a picture, then upload to NHS list. Maybe they just took this once. Then they don't know what is the name, so they upload the data to ask the names, but they don't know much more about the scientific methods. So we have to teach them how to participate in the project. So
Or
yeah,
okay. Generally, I wanted to know what criteria you adopt during the survey.
you mean the taxa?
Yeah, taxa. What criteria you adopt during the survey? Because how you can say that this become the rare, threatened, vulnerable, or endangered biodiversity?
So you mean what kind of taxa I survey or I
Yeah.
don't survey? Okay, I major focus on the vascular plants in Taiwan,
Okay. Okay.
especially in the alpine environment.
Okay.
Thank you for the questions. Are there any other questions for Professor Chung Tao? I don't see any.
Okay, Christiane, we can you share these presentations?
Yep. So if you look in the chat, we posted the YouTube recording of this presentation, and then Citizen Science Asia, as Mendel and Scott told us earlier, has lots of
Okay.
different media
Okay.
networks where they'll be sharing it out too.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
and you can just download my presentation on Google presentation. It's open, so you can freely use everywhere.
Okay.
And if you have any question, you can just send me messages.
Oh, it's very nice presentation. It's
Thank
very
you.
nice.
Great. Adrian, do
sounds
you have
like-
any other things for us?
No, I think that's it. I know Chung Tao has actually a survey to do tonight, right? You
Yeah,
an
we
evening
have a
survey to
night
get to.
observation, especially for CitizenScience Challenge today.
Yeah, go out there and get some points for Taiwan.
Yeah, because today is raining, so I think there are a lot of insects or reptiles come out in the night. So later I will do a survey just around our campus.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Cool. Well, thank you all for participating. Does anyone else have anything else? Chung Tao, did you want to say something?
Thank you. I just said thank you. And thanks a lot of volunteers in Taiwan, especially the Society of Wilderness. They contribute a lot of volunteers. They help to collect data. They help to identify. And they also provide a very comprehensive organization website. Then people can join their network and participate, especially in the stewardship of habitats. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Awesome. So thank you everyone for participating. We have gotten your emails as you signed in to this webinar. And so we'll be sending you all an email with resources that you can learn more about Citizen Science Asia and the projects going on. And you can ask us questions. So thank you all. Mindell, Scott, Caroline, do you have anything else you want to add?
No, just a big thank you to your whole team. I'm so excited to keep on watching Citizen Science Asia grow, and keep me posted about how I can help over here in Washington, D.C.
For sure.
And just want to thank the speakers and yourself as well for helping pull this all together. And thanks, Caroline, for getting up so early to allow the logistics to work.
Yes,
Yes,
and
thank you,
Scott,
Caroline.
let's do another one. We can start a series. This will be fun.
Yeah.
That's great. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
And
Thanks.
thank you, Shafiqul.
Cheers.
All right. Well, on that
Thanks.
note, happy City Nature Challenge and have a great weekend, everybody.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.